I gotta ask you this, bro. Being from back home, bro. One, do you think Wale get the respect he deserves from in your area? Because again, Baltimore and DC is so different. But do you think he get the respect he deserves?
No, I don't.
And why not?
DC, man. Like, if you really know about DC, DC is a dangerous place, bro. Like,
For sure.
always have been, always will be. It's a killer be killed city, and just Wale didn't represent that. You know what I'm saying? Wale is from the PG Maryland side. You know what I'm saying? So like, but he never portrayed himself to be a gangster or a killer or a robber, a hustler. None of that. He was just a fly guy. I like kicks. I like the like I love the. You know what I'm saying? And like, the city really don't embrace his views a lot. You know what I'm saying? But each year he gradually get more and more, more respect. But like from the streets and the trenches, like Wale, like for the, you know what I'm saying? Now, there is some mature men in the trenches who love Wale and who love his vision. And Wale has done so much for the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. I don't even know where to begin. You know what I'm saying? And so, shout out Wale. That's my brother, man. Wale was writing me on JPay in prison. Like, he's just a real nigga, man. Great heart, huge heart. Come from a good family. You know what I'm saying? Very heavy in the sports and fashion. A real nigga. I love him to death.
I know that Wale has always like had a way with his words, and I know that like during times where I was still figuring out myself and figuring out my music, his music spoke, his words spoke to me.
I hate using this word because I think it's actually almost borderline disrespectful, but if underrated could be a word, he is underrated.
Flowers, man. Flowers for him all day long, because everything that we see right now as far as hip hop goes, like, has graduated from a specific era. As of right now, the current day, that era is Drake, that era is Kendrick, that era is Wale, that era is Cole. Like, these are some of the building blocks of what we have right now. So flowers for him. It was an honor to be able to reach out to him and just say, I need you for something.
That's awesome.
And the song was pretty much already done.
Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's your boy Dariel, a host of the Time Flies podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And to the left of me, for the listeners and viewers, you're going to see a familiar face. You're going to hear a familiar voice. I got my guy Mike in the building.
Yes, sir.
What's good, boy? How you been?
These things are always tough for me because we have these offline conversations that we get on camera and I have to think of what I have to say. But I'm okay. America.
Yo, we're just like, literally right before recording this, like we went over like...
We have like a 25-minute conversation
of how we're going to talk. Yo. Alright, so... No, I'm going to get right into it, bro.
Let's do it.
Okay, so if you tuned into this podcast before, you noticed that Mike and I, we actually did a ranking of Kanye West's albums back in the day. We did for those particular episodes, we did what we thought was his best album. This one's gonna be a little different, but we ranked Kanye's discography in order of what we thought it was his best album. And also shout out my guy Rainer and Jeff. We did that with Kid Cudi. We did the same exact thing. We ranked Cudi's albums. But this episode, we're talking about a very special, a very underrated, a very underappreciated artist.
All caps.
All caps. We're talking about Wale, man. We're gonna get into Wale's discography, but before we're gonna rank his albums, and we're gonna talk about it from the perspective of our personal favorite. That's how we're gonna rank it, from our least favorite album to our most favorite album. But before we get into it, before we get into the shits, my guy Mike, you want to say some shit? You want to get some shit off your chest?
Clearly, this has been sitting with me for a long time. I'd say since the Florida mixtape, it's been sitting with me. And so, obviously, in hip hop, we have a thing where we break it down into classes. So you talk about the late '80s, you talk about the Kanes, you talk about the Rakims. You know, I always have to go back with historical context.
I love it.
Then you get to the '90s, which is the obvious, the fucking the Nas, J, you know, Big, all that good shit. There was a time in hip hop where the classes weren't so clear anymore. Like when you think of, you know, the early 2000s, it gets a little foggy. You don't really know. It's and then as we get to the later aughts, somewhere in the 2008, 2009 range, you see a nice little class developing. You see the Drake. You see the J. Cole.
Boom.
You see Wale.
Hold up, you're missing someone.
Big Sean.
Thank you.
But
Kendrick as well.
Well, so Big Sean, it's all the same generation,
right?
But it's more in like a chronological order.
Right.
So I'm thinking, you see those three first.
Kendrick, Cole, Drake.
You see Sean, Kendrick. You're
going by how we saw them.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
If you want to include Meek Mill in that class, you can. It's always different because he was like the only rapper doing street shit at that time. So but when you think of how it lined up as far as time is concerned, I would, bunch him in with that class. I say all that to say, out of all those artists, by far the most underappreciated, and especially in ratio to his skill level and his level of artistry, is Wale.
Yeah, 100%.
He does everything that his class, he does what everyone does in their class. Well, so for instance, you talk about Drake with the female records.
Right.
Wale does it. You talk about Cole rapping his ass off. Wale does it.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Kendrick with social content. Wale does it.
You talk about Kendrick doing conceptualized tracks.
Listen,
Wale
does it. And so, I mean, I am of the belief that when we're talking about, and then his catalog.
Yeah, his catalog is stupid, yo.
When we get to his catalog, I mean, no matter how you want to size it up, I'm willing to say that it's a toss-up. I don't know who. Wale has a better catalog than the majority of his class.
Okay, so you gotta break that down for me. What I get, obviously I know catalog, this discography, but like, what do you mean? Like, you're just saying that he has a good enough to compete, and then when you actually compare the projects, they're better, or like, how are you gauging it?
He has, when we think of...
Man, just say Drake, dog. Come on, call out Drake, dog.
When we think of Drake, right?
Yeah.
What are Drake's best albums in your opinion?
My opinion, Drake's only classic album is Take Care. That's me. But Nothing Was the Same.
Yes.
Honestly, those are the only two that come to mind for me.
So, okay. And, like, I think that's fair. My thing is, the reason why, and this, I forgot to mention this in the opening.
Yeah, we're just too excited, yo.
Yeah, no, because I forgot to mention this in the opening. The one thing, and the reason why Wale is underappreciated to the extent that he is because the one quality that he lacks in comparison to his peers is his ability to resonate or gather a specific identity. When you think of how Cole came out, Cole marketed himself to like the college kids, the college athletes. Kendrick marketed himself more like to it was almost a backpack crowd, more conscious crowd.
That's fair.
Initially.
That's fair.
Drake was fucking Drake out the gate. So, and he was the Young Money affiliation. Wale never had, and I think it's testament to an internal conflict that it may have. It depends how deep we want to go right now. I think that there may have been a personal identity crisis where he's one of these guys where you saw him in ciphers with state property. That was my introduction to Wale. It was a cipher. It was around. It had to be right around the time of the original mixtape About Nothing, and it was him, Beanie Siegel.
What the fuck? Yeah, break it down. I'm getting game.
Him, Beanie Siegel. I want to say Freeway. Young Chris. I think it was Young Chris. And Wale's in a cipher with them, and he's rapping.
Where'd you see this?
The wonderful world of YouTube, my friend.
What the fuck? This
Bro,
is what I got you on the fucking
you really gotta pull that up. And I know how you do now with the editing thing. You'll have like, boom, and you'll have Wale rap.
My fucking guy.
He
100%.
So, when you think of that, you think, okay, so this dude's in a cipher with the grimiest Philly dudes you can think of.
Facts.
But he's also making the mixtape About Nothing shortly after, the breakup song. So this is range. And sometimes that range is a gift and a curse. Because, like I said, it gives him somewhat of an artistic identity crisis. But it also was like, damn, this guy can do this. And he could make a Billboard single. And he could do this with Miguel. And he could, like...
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but also to butt in, he also does it to himself.
But that's what I mean about the internal conflict piece.
Right.
I think he struggles with what his identity is as an artist as well. I think sometimes he wants to go out there and just say, let me just give him 60 bars on something. You get Groundhog Day, where he's absolutely lacking. He's going fucking nuts. But, you know, I'm just saying that it's worth, if you are just a lover of music, it's worth visiting Wale's catalog and really taking it piece by piece. Yeah. I mean, put him next to Cole, put him next to Drake. Kendrick, I think is honestly. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, keep me honest.
Talk to me.
Kendrick has the least studio album releases out of that period.
Kendrick only has 3.
No.
Section 80, right, is one. It counts, or not?
You can count Section 80, but even counting Section 80, you got Section 80, you got Good Kid, you have To Pimp, you have Damn,
and then you have Mr. Morale.
So 5.
Wale, the major albums has 7.
Wale has 7. Drake
has a lot.
Drake has a lot. It's not even worth.
Yeah.
Cole, you have that Sideline Story.
Born Sinner. 2014.
2014.
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only.
KOD. And The Fall Off.
And The Fall Off. So he's got 6.
One more than Kendrick.
I'm just saying. Look at the catalogs, bro.
Yo, this is fucking good, man. This guy got me fucking
look at the catalogs. It's
What the fuck are you about to say?
Cole's
right
first album, The Sideline Story. Completely forgettable. Because when you size it up next to the mixtapes and the buzz that was going on there.
Right.
And then the fact that there were records on there that had been out. I think they were on, the warm up. Like Light Up was on the warm up.
Right.
And there was literally nothing, unless you can keep me honest, there was nothing really memorable about.
I mean, I remember the album dropping, but I get what you're saying. That like when you're actually thinking about the album, is there one track that jumps out at you? Do you remember the feeling you got listening to the album? None of that occurs with us.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that that class is all aligned in that sense, where their first album was like, other than Kendrick, because regardless if you're counting Section 80 or Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick came out the gate strong. I think, and listen, you can edit this, chop this up, because I'm going to be talking. But when you think of the era that they came out in, they came out at a time where it was like, there's still, record label, overproduction, we have to have our single, but there's this undercurrent of just like artistic integrity starting to develop. You're starting to see artists who are just kind of putting records out on their own, and that's it. Sometimes it's not even mastered. So they came at an interesting time where it's like they're putting out these studio albums, but it's just an overall interesting time. So and you hear that in the albums because you get little pieces of them as artists, and then you get the bigger records. And I think that's because Attention Deficit, even though this is a conversation about Wale, Attention Deficit was not.
It was not it.
Not it. I mean, and we'll get to that more.
Yeah.
But because
Yo, there's so much with you
so
in here,
much.
bro. Yo, I fucking love it, dog.
Wale can do it.
There's a fucking
If they
well.
can do it, Wale can do it.
There's a fucking well of Wale just
If
shit that you
they
want to
can
get
do
off,
it,
yo.
Wale can do it.
So one thing that you said, where you were like, since the Lauren mixtape, you've been wanting to get some shit off. That's 2012, my guy. You've been wanting to get some shit off for 2012.
Because I think at that point, he was the only one in that class. That was right after Kendrick came, Good Kid. He was the only one in that class with a really consistently dope body of work after that mixtape.
After
Forlorn 1.
After Forlorn 1.
Because Drake. No, actually, no, that's a lie. I lied because Take Care.
Yeah. I mean, but you said the body of work. I'm looking at the body of work after Forlorn mixtape drop. You got The Gifted. You got the album. Go ahead.
No. Because see, this could be a whole class conversation on that peer group. Because there's an honest conversation to be had about Take Care. We won't have it here.
What's the convo? What's the topic?
If you revisit the album, does it sound the same to you? You have your moments on there.
Does it sound the same?
You have your moments. The reason why I think Take Care stood out as opposed to Thank Me Later was because Take Care had, once again, the artist developing in Drake.
Right.
The Weeknd had a big part in it, but that dark, moody, somber, submarine sample, 40 beat, which is like his trademark at that point, it developed then. Right. But there are very forgettable records on Take Care.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be a separate pod.
We can save that.
I haven't listened to Take Care in a minute. Well, not in a minute, but I just haven't listened to it and listened to it in a minute. I have it on the background a lot. Cameras, I got it on the background. Underground
cameras.
Cameras go stupid.
Cameras, I mean that. So when I first heard Cameras, not to make this about Drake now, but when I first heard Cameras, that's when I knew Take Care was something. I knew it was a moment.
Facts. All right. So okay. So Wale, obviously, we appreciate you here, and we like highlighting stuff that people don't really highlight because we're different. You heard, but. Let's get into it, bro.
Let's do it.
Let's fucking get into it. So we're gonna start ranking our personal favorite studio albums from Wale, from least favorite to the most favorite. So, Mike, my guy, I'm gonna have you do the honors first.
Yep.
For the listeners, you're not gonna be able to listen to this, but for the viewers, boom, baby. All right. So let's start this shit off. So, at number 7, Wale's studio albums. What is your least favorite studio album?
Pardon my 7-year-old handwriting.
Sorry, listeners. You gotta check out the YouTube channel. You feel me? Subscribe. Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's about it. Yeah.
Talk to me.
I get it. First of all, it was the post. Was that One Chance Afrobeat era in hip hop. Wale being, of strong African descendants, wanted to take part in it. I think that plays a large part in this album and how experimental it was. It wasn't Wale's best work. At least I didn't get the depth that I needed out of a Wale album. He did have his moments like the song about cocaine. It was very creative.
CC White?
But he was really, you could tell he was just kind of developing ideas on this album and he was trying shit out. But it didn't hit for me.
Of course, we gotta get technology up, baby.
Yeah.
So I got the track list.
I mean, it had
oh my god, I got.
Yeah. So, thank God, the intro, probably, in my opinion, the strongest record on the album. But otherwise, I mean, mid. Not to Wale's standard. You had his experimental stuff. The Running Back record.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yo, what was that, bro?
Yeah.
That was like what? Like you wasted a Weezy feature on this?
Yeah. So Columbia Heights, like it's more cool. The experimental, like the CC White, like I said, a creative idea. But the song itself didn't really do it for me.
So I was listening to earlier today, trying to do my homework. Shout out homework. But doing as much homework as possible. And did you catch the episode a long time ago where Wale was on Everyday Struggle?
Of course.
Yeah. It was this album. It was this album. And academics and him are going back and forth because Wale thinks he's corny. Academics says some shit that Wale didn't like. And he's talking about CC White and how like cocaine. He's picturing cocaine as a woman, and that's the basis of the song. But he was talking about My Love, featuring Major Lazer, Wizkid, and Dua Lipa. And they were having a conversation about like if Drake came out with that song,
good good thing you brought this up.
Talk to me.
Go. You finish.
Oh no, so it was basically like, but if Drake made that song, that shit will be all over the radio. It should be a banger.
He made the same comparison with CC White. He said if Kendrick comes with an idea like CC White, you're gonna praise it. But because it's me, and that goes back to the idea of, you know, I think Wale and where he resonates.
The same way Joe said, if Drake made My Love, you would be with no.
That's not true.
Hold on.
That's not true.
Point.
Not because he put that opinion in my mouth and now you're going over that.
I don't agree with Joe.
Okay, so you say what he said.
Like that fucking My Love record if Drake made that record.
Okay, you know what I think about that record? Wale, when he does or he goes to Afrobeat, he sounds way more authentic than Drake. Unfortunately, for the U.S. like crowd that accepts it, they accept the polished version that Drake gives, which is watered down. He's too authentic with it. Like, it actually sounds. Wale is the only artist that's in my African playlist. He sounds too authentic.
I don't want to talk about My Love just because I know that song's gonna go gold or platinum. I'm not gonna worry about 100%. that. Even my song Golden Salvation. What I want you to do first of all today is give me the same 30 minutes that you give Kendrick.
I did.
On just one song, Golden Salvation.
Okay.
Right. I'm rapping from the perspective of a Jesus Peace chain, right? I don't think, a couple, I know a lot of upcoming niggas like Mick Jenkins and, Smino, Golden Chaz, friends, these guys can do it, but like, I'm talking about a lot of the mainstream artists that you're championing right now. I don't believe in my mind that they're capable of making a record like Golden Salvation or CC White. Now to break down CC White, I'm talking about where I come from, and I'm pretending that cocaine is an actual woman. And a lot of people, that junk is going over their heads, and it makes me scratch my head because if certain artists did that, there'd be all these think pieces, there'll be all of these things like, oh, this is, I didn't get that.
Kendrick, they all have an army of stans in their own right.
Facts.
Wale, it's kind of scattered. He has me. I'm here, Wale. But there's not that defined crowd that is like Wale Hive, for lack of a better term. So I think that he's valid. Like, if you're talking about My Love, he's right. If Drake comes out with that record, he's the man. If Kendrick comes with a concept like CC White, he's the most creative artist.
Wale has so many fucking concept tracks like this, man.
But
it's
because he's
a
creative dude, and he
100%.
Just this album, it didn't hit like that.
100%.
My PYT was terrible.
It was terrible.
Fashion Week.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Almost. Not quite.
Jeezy was having a moment at the time, but it's just like.
But see, he should have knew better. And he should have saw through. Right. Jeezy was just having a moment at that time.
Do you remember? Shine is an acronym. I totally forgot what it was for though. Do you remember what it was for?
Fuck, you're right.
I really forgot.
No, you're right, but I forget.
Yeah, me too. I forgot to look it up. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to say I'm surprised that this is your least favorite, but definitely a nice banger to start off with. What about the Fish and Grits? Even with Travis, is like cool.
And this is when Travis was starting his actual ascension.
Travis was like taking over the world at this point.
This was the beginning of his ascension.
So of course you gotta get a Travis.
The next year was Astro World, right?
I think 2018, I believe so. Yeah. So yeah, I get it, but even the Travis song was like, okay, cool. What about the Heaven on Earth with Breezy? It was right.
Since they've done a comparison, a collaboration that was better than that. So.
Angles? Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one on Floor and Two.
I believe that's Angles. The I Need a Girl sample.
Yeah,
that shit's fire.
They both sounded very natural over that song.
All right, my boy. If you get any, go ahead, bro. If you have anything else, bro, go ahead.
Listen, like I said, I don't. When it comes to negativity about Wale,
we're gonna keep it at a minimum.
Much.
Yo, Wale, you got two stains over here. You heard?
For real.
All right, bet. So my turn. All right, man. Attention deficit. Dog, he is trying way too fucking hard. Way too hard, dog. So I get it. First
this album, is also Interscope.
I get it, of course.
This is what I mean about the label thing. And you see that label bullshit all over this album. Chilling with Lady Gaga, you fucking kidding me?
And that was like, I think that was the lead single, I believe. And it's funny.
It sure was.
It's funny because literally the interview that we're talking about, the Everyday Struggle, he brings it up and he's like, I got a song with Lady Gaga, I got a song with Rihanna, I got a song with, I forgot the third third person, but he was like, nobody's done that. And it's true. But at the same time, this Lady Gaga joint was so fucking
it looks
like...
funny in the light.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're really using the Lady Gaga as an example? Like, come on. Yeah, bro, it's just way too fucking, it's trying way too hard, bro. Overproduced. Honestly, I don't even have a favorite song off this. I don't even have a favorite song off this album. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. Yo, but I totally forgot that fucking Pharrell has a joint on this album. Let It Loose. Yep. But even when I heard it, dog, facts. Even when I heard it, I was like, no. Yeah. This is too much.
It wasn't there yet.
It was too much, bro. Look at the people, bro. He got Pharrell Williams. He has Bun B. He has Gucci. He has Jasmine Sullivan. He has Gaga. He has Marsha Ambrosius, who was popping at the time. He has an early J. Cole. Like, look at this, man. Like, it's way too much, bro.
This album is like your prototypical. The label sees potential and is trying to figure out where they're going with this artist and what type of artist he's gonna be.
Right.
Wale was not made for that type of infrastructure. He just wasn't.
Nah, go ahead. My bad.
No, he was made for just a more free form. But you go ahead, because I got.
No. I was gonna say, do you have a favorite song off this album?
The moment of this album, as ironic as it is J. Cole's verse on "Beautiful Bliss." but that is probably honestly the best track on the album. Pretty Girls. I was a fan of Pretty Girls as a record, but yeah, this was.
I don't even remember. I don't remember how most of these songs sound like, bro. And I just listened to them.
And this is because this comes down to not necessarily the quality of the album, but like our favorite, and we're depicting why it's our favorite albums or our least favorite albums. The reason why this one wasn't at the bottom for me, and it's actually, all transparency, because we'd end up doubling up. This is actually my number 6.
Number 6.
Because the only reason why it didn't go to the bottom, is because for some reason, I can't even tell you why, I went out to go buy this album.
Yeah, I know. I borrowed it from you.
Yeah,
I remember.
No, I went to go buy this album in late 2009. I didn't really know much of the music off the album. I saw, like I said, I'd seen this guy before. I'd seen his ability to rap. I said, there's something I like about this guy. I heard this album. It wasn't promising, but I kept thinking.
It wasn't promising.
But the J. Cole verse on this was the highlight of that album.
That's the one you want people to check out?
If there's a record to check out, it would be Beautiful Bliss. Because Melanie Fiona also killed the hook. Melanie Fiona is one of those mysteries. I don't know if she faded into the background of like songwriting and stuff, but
maybe
I don't know. She was around a lot at this time,
right?
And then
so was Chrisette Michele on track 8. Yeah,
Chrisette Michele, and she was previously with a group, wasn't she? Chrisette.
I think so, but I don't remember the group.
Because I remember, her in like the mid to late aughts.
You know what? You know how I know Chrisette Michele? Fucking Mickey Fax. Mickey Fax has like a lot of songs.
Nas had some records.
Okay.
With it.
Oh yeah.
Nas had, and then
I remember that track. I remember the sound of it.
And then she sang for Donald Trump, didn't she?
Yikes. I'm not sure, but if she did, that's a wrap. We both pretty much nailed it as much as we wanted. You said this is your number 6.
I was gonna say we could hold the board up now.
Yeah.
Post that. I'm just gonna put a little AD.
Nice. Dude, you got number 5.
No, you do your number 6.
Word. Oh, my God. No surprise. It's gonna be your number 7.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. Can you write it for me?
Yeah.
We touched upon it. It's a magnet. Yeah. It's we touched upon it a lot. Let me see if I have any separate notes that we didn't really talk about, but for the most part, I think we good. Yeah, man, we literally hit everything. So yeah.
Drum roll, please.
Drums, please. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Listeners, Mike is about to write down his 5th favorite Wale album.
At number 5.
At number 5, we got The Gifted.
But honestly speaking, from this point up, there's nothing like atrocious in Wale's catalog.
Including The Gifted.
The Gifted is not atrocious.
No, 100%
it's just
not.
At the level that I felt the other albums were. So if we can just get that technology rolling with the track list, and
The Take Now, my man. Let's go, man.
Fifth favorite album might be my favorite album cover though. Just fuck with it.
It's dope.
We start off with Positivity around here. The Curse of the Gifted. Loved it.
Oh, the intro? Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. I really feel like Wale's intro bag is a thing. I mean, even if we're talking about the mixtapes and we're talking about the Festivus, we're talking like Wale's one of those artists. He pays attention to that intro track, so I appreciated that. Love Hate thing, dope. It was tribute to the DC upbringing.
That's your guy Sam Dew, and you mentioned in the Kendrick Lamar episode. Go check that out.
On that same album, Kendrick brought back Sam Dew and Sam Fuck.
Good shit. You called it out on the fucking Mr. Morale video, so good shit. Receipts right here, baby.
Yeah. So, Heaven's Afternoon. I love the Meek's verse on this. I think Meek smoked it. Okay.
It could have been better between those two.
It could have been better.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
But then, like, you have your, once again, it's like that fight for identity, because then you have the MMG Wale here, like with the Bricks record, the Clappers, and Bricks. I know what he was trying to do. Like Bricks is another thing where he tried to flip like some street shit on its head and conceptualize it, which I get it. It just didn't. It didn't hit for me. They didn't need to do that with the Bad remix either. They just could have just left Bad on there. I get like you want Rihanna on the album, you want the placement, but that's filthy because you only put it on there because of the name. In my opinion, I think there's nothing that Rihanna did to that track that Tierra Thomas did not do on the original, which was on one of the best mixtapes of all time, Falarin.
Right.
They dug it there.
And Bad, no? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm bugging. Sorry.
But you see, like, it goes back to that point of, like, Wale having these concepts in his head and they may not translate right. I saw that a couple of times on this album. When we're talking about
yes, that's the one I'm talking about. That's bro.
It didn't, I don't think it hit the way that he intended it for it to hit. Like, he did the same thing as he did for CCY. Like, he humanized...
For listeners and viewers, explain the concept behind that.
So, CC White, it was cocaine. On this, it was a Jesus piece. And he was basically explaining all the nuances of that Jesus piece and what it means on, you know, a street level, a financial level, a pseudo-financial level. And I get it. Sharp dude, but it just wasn't engaging, the record. I'm not sure if you want to add something to that.
Nah, it's just he's talking about from the perspective of a Jesus piece, and it's just like that shit. I get why it didn't connect, but it just goes to what you're saying about how, like, artistic integrity and some things just don't connect, and then when you take a step back and you look at it, it's like one of the best things ever. So it's like same shit, bro.
But the reason why I have that piece of Wale's artist reminds me a lot of my favorite of all time, which is Nas. Nas would have these moments where he'd get too artistic almost for his own good, where, you know, he's doing Jimmy Cagney voices on Hip Hop is Dead, like, so he tries these things because there's such creative people that they can't help but try to find an outlet for these ideas that they have. Sometimes they just don't hit. If there's any album that kind of personifies why Wale doesn't resonate, it's probably this, because the divide in his artistry is there. It's not like a seamless thing. You see, like, the conscious strides that he makes throughout the album, and then you see the MMG shit. And that's no knock, because the you know, I think that MMG move, there's a group of people that may be the closest thing to a Wale faithful that feel like him signing to MMG was the death of what Wale was. He was supposed to be this poet, like, you know, that guy. I don't feel that way. I feel like MMG gave him more of a rounding, but I feel like this, even though it wasn't his first release on the MMG imprint, this is probably what personifies that confusing division in Wale's artistry.
I'm with you. I think the whole MMG thing helped him instead of like.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. I think if we don't know, because to go back briefly to the attention deficit, we don't know where Wale ends up if he's not on that No Hands remix. And the No Hands remix.
Wale ends up in DC, not rapping anymore.
Or he just stays in the mixtape circuit and he kind of goes out that way. Maybe it develops a little later for him because obviously the game took to guys who just put out their own music and mixtapes, but we don't know because after that attention deficit shit, it was kind of a dark time. He even said it for himself.
Yeah.
Like, and
it was real slow.
And then he got on that No Hands remix and caught the eyes and ears of Ross, who has proclaimed that his appreciation for Wale comes from the mixtape shit, the poetic shit, because he's a musical guy. He can make a song. He can write. He's a very talented songwriter, and that's why
Oh, they told Ross. Sorry.
No, well,
no, of course.
Ross is a fucking great writer too, but
100%.
Wale, but sometimes that's what you get with some of these great writers. Sometimes they're so creative, not every idea is gonna hit. You know, so. But
it's funny. I remember how I think Wale was saying in an interview about how like him and Ross just got connected. I'm pretty sure he said how like Ross walked into a strip club and he saw Wale there and he was like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Because the whole poetic and like it's like, "Why are you here?" And then they bonded over that.
But see, like I find that dope. Like the dichotomy of characters, like I find that to be dope. I think like no one ran that gamut better than like Pac, who you have like art school in Baltimore, and then thugged out on death row. You know, and people will misconstrue that as him being a fake person, but not understand that these characters can live inside of one person. He can genuinely be that guy, and he can genuinely be the art kid in Baltimore.
Right.
I think that Wale is one of those guys, and I think that the dichotomy is dope. Sometimes it just hinders the art. So
that's crazy. All right, my turn.
Yep.
So my number 5. My guy, thank you very much.
Bad choice, my man.
So my number 5. Wow, that's crazy. Obviously, I'll get into it. Let's put it down. Thank you again, my guy. So not random, but like for some reason he doesn't list all his features. There are songs on here. I think Meek is on one of the songs and he's not featured.
Routine.
Yeah, Routine, exactly.
Ross
he's not
is on
featured.
it too.
Ross is on it as well, and that was kind of weird. Like, do you remember anything about that? Like,
why?
Maybe at the time.
No, I knew what it was. It just occurred to me. That was because there was rumored to be tension in the MMG camp between Meek and Wale because of his take on the whole Drake beef shit. So, so you hadn't heard them on a record, so I remember him saying that he wanted that MMG reunion to be like a surprise. So he didn't put them on the track list. I do vaguely remember something like that.
He wanted to like surprise.
I think you hear
Meek first.
You hear Meek first, and I think that was all calculated.
So they wanted to like
be like, oh shit, the band is back together.
Got it. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
when I listened to that, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why? Anyway, there are a lot of songs I like on this album. You got the joint with Black, Expectations. You got my personal favorite, which is gonna be Love Her Fault, Bryson Tiller, no question. Anything with Bryson Tiller fucking kills, bro. He's insane, dog. That's my favorite track off the album. But look, it's because the heavy hitters on this album are fucking heavy hitters. Then when you get to the other tracks, they're so forgettable, bro. Like, look, you got Love Her Fault with Bryson Tiller, and then what the fuck is the next song after that?
I'm not mad at On Chill.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying, like, you have those two songs consecutive back to back. That's fucking insane to me. That's amazing, and I love that. But, like, after that, it's like, Routine is cool. Routine is cool for me. I mean, BGM is dope. Break My Heart with Lil Durk is dope. But see, like, Set You Free with Kelly Price, Black Bonnie with Jacquees. It's like, these songs are cool.
But in all fairness,
talk to me.
I believe on the original release, 14 and 15 were bonuses. So I don't know if it's fair to include them. Set You Free was the original outro.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know why.
I remember that pretty distinctly because he had Kelly Price on the intro and on the outro, and Kelly Price is a fucking beast on that microphone.
100%.
You know.
Yeah, but even okay. So if we're looking at it from track 13, up, like Debbie, 50 in the Safe, Cliche with Ari Lennox and Boogie, Love and Loyalty. Even the intro, Sue Me, like I like these songs, but they're kind of forgettable.
Nah.
To me, sorry, and to me. And then, again, like I said, he had the fucking heavy hitters are fucking bangers. Like, The Love, Her Fault, and On Chill, like, that's just fucking insane to me. The Lil Durk joint, The Break My Heart, I was re-listening to this album, I was very surprised that I liked it. Because Durk right now is between him and Baby, I want to say, Lil Baby, kind of like running shit in hip-hop.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tougher to call than ever as far as like who's in that.
Who's the guy?
Who's in that lead?
Okay, yeah, but
yeah, he's
one of them.
He's
one of them.
Okay. He's one of the ones.
So he's one of the ones right now, and whenever I try to listen to the Durk, like I can't. I just can't. And I don't know if it's because of my age and I'm kind of like a little bit removed from the generation now. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get with it. But what's interesting is when Durk has features.
Yeah.
I've been noticing that I've been liking his features a lot more, and this is another prime example. On a feature joint, he fucking kills it.
Yeah.
I mean, I said what I had to say about it. I don't know if you want to jump in, but like, it's just me. It's just the heavy hitters were really big, but then my overall feeling was that the ones that didn't hit really didn't hit for me.
So, I think to go back to one of the points I was trying to make earlier, as far as Wale doing what the other artists in his class can do. When you talk about, social value, social merit, I think Sue Me does a great example of display the social value, but also make a good record out of it too. That's fire. That song is fire. I love the video, like the concept of it. If you remember, it flips like racial identity on its head, like they have the white dude getting harassed in the Starbucks instead of, because that was what was going on at that time. There was that whole thing with the black guy in Starbucks. I think the cops came and it became a whole mess. But he's flipping that concept on its head. Like, I think that's an amazing record. Love and Loyalty, okay. Cliche, I thought that was perfect placement for everyone involved. I think Ari Lennox sounded great. Wale sounded great. Boogie smoked it. And that was from that like Dreamville camp that developed into
Revenge of the Dreamers 3?
Yeah.
That song was
that song was from that pack. Like they made that song when they were all on their little campus. Expectations you already spoke about.
Black fucking
Fire
kills
Black
it,
was in a moment at that time.
Black fucking kills it, dog.
Black Girl Magic was dope.
Black Girl Magic is dope.
To your point, Love Her Fault, Bryson Tiller. I think Bryson Tiller, he set the bar really high for himself with that first album.
Trap Soul.
And people might have felt like he fell off, but man, you hear him on guest spots.
Bryson's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting though because Bryson doesn't do guest spots a lot.
He doesn't, but when he does, he shows the fuck
100%, 100%. And to me, he only has one bad, not even a bad album. His second album, True to Self, I don't think it was his best album, but he still has joints off the album which I really like and I really listen to this day. But Bryson is so fucking interesting, man, because he doesn't like the whole celebrity, I'm a R&B guy, so my face has to be out in the public. He's the complete opposite. He's a fucking gamer. Yeah. He only likes to spend time with his daughter, and when he pops out, you're gonna feel the impact, like we just said with the features.
Yeah, so Bryson Tiller smoked that. Wale, like that's Wale getting in that bag though. That's Wale getting in the breakup song bag. That's him going back to the roots. I felt like there was a lot of going back to the roots on this. And I feel like this was a nice blend of the MMG Wale and the Poet mixtape Wale. I think that this was a good balance of it. On Chill.
Banger.
Jeremiah smoked it, and he flipped a record that you have to know your R&B to really like appreciate. Ask of You. Raphael Sadiq. It's not a super deep cut. It was a single. It was a video, but I did have to remember the name of the record, which, in all transparency, absolute classic. Wale did it justice. I liked the Routine record, the MMG reunion.
No, I liked it too. It was just that was kind of interesting. But
Love Me Nina semi-automatic was dope with the beat switch. That record is another callback to the Wale of old. Break My Heart, I think. Okay, Little Durk.
I think
stole the show on that one.
Exactly.
I see these two records, 11 and 12, sleeper cells, but honestly, dope to me. I think he was playing around with a different sound, a different bounce, but I mean, he almost does like a bad boy flip on the debut record. I thought it was dope. He sounded good. 50 in the Safe, I thought went. Like I remember when I first heard this album, I had that on repeat. There was just something about, and he was smoking shit.
No, again, he does his thing on the song, but to me, it's just like.
But see, this album was not for. Set You Free is that. That's like the Wale that I really, really fuck with. That's the depth. You're getting like him, Shamelessly, Kelly Price, nobody better. If we're talking about a record about depth, and you know your whatever's going on in your personal space, you have the fucking angelic voice of Kelly Price on it. Come on, you can't lose. Like that. Even if you don't know, even Jay, when he really wanted to talk about some shit on In My Lifetime Volume 1, went to Kelly Price on You Must Love Me, one of the best Jay cuts ever. And like I said, I can't speak for the last two. I remember them as bonus records. They came out prior to the album. I think this is also the time when what labels were doing. You put these out as singles, they already had some like stream power, so they add to the sales. They add to the so they would throw those on the back of it.
I remember that.
And you know, instead of us going, I feel like this is a real time call here, but instead of us going back and forth and talk, because once I get to where this album is on my list, I'm gonna have nothing to talk about. I'll just let loose now. If we want to just write it down, this album was actually number 3 for me.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thank you. Let me see.
So wait, so number 4 is blank right now?
I'm gonna get to number 4.
Right. I got it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy, dog. Yo, Wale, bro, you smart, dog. You smart. All right, Mike's number 4 favorite Wale album, Ambition. Wow. They gonna love me for my ambition.
Yeah. So okay. So this. Well, I'll let you do the technology piece.
Facts.
And then we'll talk about it. So Ambition. So.
Number 4? That's wow.
So okay. Now, Ambition. Once again, it's about the value it holds in our lives. This is his first release on the MMG imprint.
It's his first one after Attention Deficit 2. Big comeback.
This is a great
big comeback.
This is a great and promising merger of what's to come as Wale. Because once again,
I'm mad at you for number 4, dog.
No, but this is a good balance. A good balance of, once again, him and I think Ross obviously appreciating Wale, who he is as an artist. Emphasize, yo, do your thing. Like, you could do what we do too, but do your thing. You see that? I mean, come on. Where do we even start with it?
Dog.
Come on. Dog. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like rethinking this right now, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Yo, Lotus Flower
No,
Bomb?
but-
Like, here we go.
I mean, and that's a single like that.
Yeah, that is the single of this.
So I mean, don't hold your applause once again.
The fucking 3-track sequence.
Bro, Wale in the intro game. Don't hold your applause. And by the way, okay, little history time.
Talk to me.
Little history time, because this is why I love talking about artists of this generation, because unlike the artists that we really revere and appreciate from the past, these are albums that we grew and we lived with. It's not something we lived in retrospect and our older cousins told us about it. This class, whether we like it or not, this is our defining class. This is our.
Who wouldn't like it?
Who knows? You got some people who want to act like, just
Biggie's their class.
90, like,
No, this is our class, 100%. Yeah.
So, because when you talk about these guys, this is 18 to fucking current day. This is who. So, I was fresh off of a Halloween trip in Miami.
Oof. Okay.
Right. And I'll never forget. I'm on my lunch break. I knew Wale dropped, and this is when I was so serious about copping physicals. Now you can't really do that anymore. I was on my lunch break. When I tell you, I had,
5 minutes to go get it.
No. If this was a Tuesday morning, because they were releasing albums on Tuesdays, I had just gotten back that Tuesday. My jaw was still locking. My teeth were still grinding. The amphetamines were still in my system. I didn't get a good sleep because the Molly was pure at that time. So, but this album had just come out, and I said, "Fuck this job. I'm going to cop that one." And I went to cop that fucking.
You left the job?
I left the job.
I'm done.
Don't hold your applause. The first thing I hear, then you're just going through it, and those first 4 tracks he's blacking out on.
Facts. Hold on.
Legendary.
On top of the dome with it,
Ooh.
dog, bro. Now I'm not gonna lie though. I said the first 3 tracks, but Miami Nights, out of the first 4, Miami Nights is my dud.
Oh yeah.
I like Miami Nights,
but look at what it's up with though.
Exactly, but dog, if he had Don't Hold Your Applause, Double M Genius, and Legendary back to back to,
dog,
that
Miami
shit
to the bottom
would've
of
been fucking amazing, dog.
I'm with you there.
Thank God.
So then you get to Lotus Flower Bomb.
Lotus Flower Bomb.
I mean that's when you start. I think that's when, because this is Wale's second album. That's when the world starts to see. Oh, nah, he's a monster. This is different. This is #1 on Billboard, Wale.
It was.
This is now, this is the song at the wedding, Wale. This is so fucking. And then I love the bag he got in on the next track, Chain Music.
Chain Music.
Fire. It was.
That was on the.
But see, that was another concept. That was another concept record. Chain Music. It was once again kind of like what the chain symbolizes in, street, but the bounce on that record, just dope. I remember that when I first listened to it, that's the track that initially stood out.
But Chain Music and Bait, I think they were on the 11-1 Theory mixtape. Or it was on a mixtape, bro. It was on something.
It may have been.
It might have been a different, oh my bad, hold on. That Way, which is one of the last songs on this album, that was on this mixtape. That was on the 11-1 Theory mixtape.
That I remember hearing before that album.
Yeah, but Chain Music and Bait, they were somewhere, bro. They were somewhere.
They might have just been out there. This was the era of like the leaks that just
leaks.
lived.
Okay.
And then they,
possibly.
So you could have been that.
Let me get back to you.
No. Focused. Good collaboration. They ended up beefing.
It's a damn shame they ended up beefing.
They ended up beefing, and
on,
while they talked about it,
you can't.
In a very.
Cuddy, you my guy forever and ever, but calling Wale corny, like.
Yeah, like you're.
That's kind of that. I don't like that.
Nah, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Sabotage, Lloyd, you can tell, and that's another thing. You can tell. You can tell just by the features he selects. Wale is like an R&B guy.
100%.
Even going back to like the whole Kelly Price thing, but like he goes to Miguel. He knows what he's doing. At this time, Miguel is fresh off of that.
I think Kaleidoscope Dream, which is my favorite R&B album in the last 10 years.
It's a good one.
So he has Lotus Flower Bomb on his album. He has Sabotage with Lloyd, and I think track 17? Oh, 15. Track 15.
Yeah.
That Way. Jeremiah. Come on, bro. 3 of them.
He's doing it.
And the sleeper, White Linen with fucking the king of literally 2000s R&B.
Yeah, like for real.
This album is stupid, bro.
Slight Work with Big Sean. That shit went off. There was a remix of French that came out that I fucked with too.
Oh yeah.
Ambition was fucking. That was another one. That you know how we were talking about when I listened to Take Care and I heard Cameras and I realized oh, this is an album.
Ambition
was that moment where it's like I'm going through the album and I'm liking everything I'm hearing, but I always have to have this one record that really like twists. And they say once I got that record, no, I know I'm gonna be listening to this album forever because that just completed the circuit. And for some reason, that's Ambition.
I think that's the consensus. That Ambition's the stand on this album. My question though, my bad. My question is because I literally after you just said there's this one song that like once you hear that song you're like okay, this guy is this guy.
Yeah.
But Ambition off the Ambition album is track 11. So I'm saying like you kind of went deep into the album until you found that one song.
Yeah.
Like I guess what I'm asking is like were you kind of worried going through it that you couldn't find that one song?
No, not at all. It's a strange process that I have that I can't even really articulate. But it's like I liked literally everything I heard up until that point. But there was something about Ambition that transcended it from like an album that I really like to an album that I'll be able to go back to years from now. There's just something about that moment there that completed the circle. I didn't have to hear anything after that. We got some good shit after that. But I didn't have to hear anything after that, and I knew. But they all smoked it. I think it was a great introduction to that trifecta.
100%.
Track 12, whatever.
Yeah, from track 12.
No Days Off was hard, though. No Days
12,
Off
13, and 14 for me are cool. But
cool.
like,
That's a good way of putting it.
cool.
But that's the thing. Nothing is bad on this album.
No, 100% not.
You know what I mean? Nothing is bad.
100%.
That's it for me. So.
What were you gonna say right now?
So where does this rank for you?
Don't worry about it. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it. All right.
So what's your number 4?
My number 4. Damn, bro. Lotus Flower Bomb.
Yeah.
Miguel does his fucking shit, bro. Yo, Miguel, bro. We need another fucking album, dog. Where are you, bro?
I was wrong.
Oh, you thought that was my first one?
That was it.
You thought that was my first one? You have the cap?
That's fucking cap.
Okay, for the listeners and viewers, my number 4 favorite Wale album is actually the album About Nothing. Man, there's a lot to say about this album, bro. There's a lot to say about this album. So prior to this album, he has 2 mixtapes. He has the mixtape About Nothing, and then he has a second installment, which is More About Nothing. And this is the 3rd installment, which is the studio album, and he actually got fucking Jerry Seinfeld to fucking participate in this album.
Tech.
Which is fucking insane. What happened?
Do the tech.
Oh, yeah. Dog, it's just...
First of all, who the fuck is getting Jerry
100%.
After making...
No, 100%.
After
100%.
making... You know, all the Seinfeld references on the mixtape series. For him to complete the cycle with a studio album narrated by Jerry Seinfeld, incorporating the concept of Seinfeld episodes in the records.
No, it's insane.
And making...
That's insane. So, okay. So...
It's your number.
No, I'm with you, bro.
We're both a little questionable on our number 4s. I'm just going to say that. Number 4 is a bad number for us.
Oh, man, I think so. Okay, so, like you just said, bro, this is Jerry Seinfeld. That's all you have to say. Jerry Seinfeld collaborating with a fucking hip-hop artist?
Yeah.
Who the fuck can do that? Wale can do it. But this is the thing. When you take a step back, you get Jerry Seinfeld. Okay, that's going to appeal to a mass audience, right? I think Wale didn't do a good enough job to put his foot up in this album's ass, knowing that he has Jerry Seinfeld in his corner. There are a lot of songs on here that are kind of forgettable to me, and that should not happen. This should have been Wale's masterpiece. That's why I have it at number 4. And
a lot of people do regard it as Wale's masterpiece.
I can see it. I can see it from one perspective, but from the other perspective, which is the one I'm talking about right now, I don't think this is his masterpiece. I just feel like there's too many songs that are up in the air. And again, with a Jerry Seinfeld, you cannot have an up in the air song. Every song, I'm sorry.
No, but
hold on. I'm sorry. It's a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, but when you have Jerry Seinfeld on the album, you're putting pressure on yourself.
Conflicting audiences, though. The people who are going to appreciate the Jerry Seinfeld aren't necessarily the people who are going to, checking for every rap release.
Yeah, but we're not talking about those people. We're talking about the hip hop heads that understand the Jerry Seinfeld collaboration.
And
we're talking about that crowd.
think all those people are the people who say that this is
the masterpiece.
This is the masterpiece.
All right, then I might be solo.
And
I might be in a corner.
I think that the way that people will say "Take Care" solidified Drake or 2014 solidified Cole will say that this is the album that solidified Wale.
I mean, to each his own, but dog, like first and foremost, he has the one time in Houston, and then he has the Girl on Drugs back to back. To me, that shit was crazy.
The Girl on Drugs is from Festivus, legendary.
Okay, yeah. Now that I remember correctly, but oh, so I also wanted to give this little story. So we've always talked about doing this ranking of Wale albums. We've been talking about it since we did
Since we started podcasting together.
100%. And
there's another name on that list. We'll talk about it off mic, but there's another name
that you want to do
to get to.
I think I know what you're talking about, but yeah, we've always been talking about Wale. We want to rank his albums, so we put it on the back burner because obviously we want to talk about other stuff. But what made me text you that day, and I texted you, I was like, it's time.
Yeah, he starts texting me all these Wale references with Dear Beloved. I already knew what was coming.
I just started texting him. First I texted him just like ... It's time. And then I just started randomly throwing Wale songs at him. Just texting him Lotus Flower Bomb, Dearly Beloved, whatever. But what made me really get into the Wale gear and be like, yo, we gotta do this. It was maybe about a week or two ago. It was I think it's like the first really nice day that we had in the quote unquote air quotes spring. Sunny. I was doing errands. The window was down. And all of a sudden, the fucking Matrimony came on, bro. Dog, when I tell you that song fucking hit, bro, I was like, yo.
Third time, I think, with the Billboard #1. I think it started off with Lotus, went to Bad, and Matrimony.
So, dog, the Matrimony is a fucking masterpiece of a song from Wale. Forget the whole Usher, King of R&B, getting him on the track.
Him articulating his struggles in that arena.
Which is that's a Wale-ism at this point, bro. That's a Wale-ism, bro. But yeah, forget the whole getting Usher on it. Like not a lot of people can get Usher on a fucking track, just like a lot of people can't get Jay-Z on a track. Like he got Usher on the track. And then the fucking song itself, everything blends fucking beautifully. Usher doesn't feel misplaced. It feels like Usher is placed perfectly in the way Wale wanted to use him. And dog, when that song came on, again the sun was out, windows down, the weather was great. I was like, yo, this guy is fucking one of the ones, bro.
One of the ones.
And then after the Matrimony, you got the fucking Body, dog, to close out the fucking album with Jeremiah.
What I mean about him being an R&B head.
No, he's insane. Specifically when we're talking about R&B, relationship, love, all that kind of like stuff. Wale, again, he's underappreciated, but he does get his. Because I've heard podcasts talk about like, yo, Wale his ear is really good. A lot of people don't talk about it. I've heard other artists say that about him. So he's not like super underrated, but he's still not talked about enough. But anyway, you obviously The Pessimist with J. Cole. You got another J. Cole joint. The Helium.
Only on the hook though. From what
oh yeah, you're right. My favorite song off this is definitely The Matrimony, like I just said. But the intro about nothing. Is he rapping or is just them talking? He's rapping, right?
He's rapping.
The Helium Balloon.
Fire.
That shit is fire. Another concept fucking song. Of course, another Wale-ism, if you will.
My sneakers wide.
Yeah.
And Jerry Seinfeld's a sneakerhead for those who don't know.
What's the science? Well, you want to tell the listeners and viewers one more time about the white shoes? Jerry is a sneakerhead.
Well, he ties it in because Jerry Seinfeld, I guess, the Seinfeldism.
If I had to pick one song, it might be the One Time in Houston, bro. That just slow R&B joint, dog. It's like an R&B joint.
So what don't you like about this album?
Black bottles on me. That's it. Good. It's just the other albums that I had ahead of this.
And I guess I kind of feel you because it's the same thing with me and Ambition at number 4. Yeah. Not necessarily anything I could say that I didn't like about the album, but maybe just what. And come on, my favorite record on this album.
Talk to me.
Number 9.
Not with SZA?
Playing off the whole alleged sexual tension between Elaine and Jerry. And Wale smoked the beat, SZA flips the old music Soul Child. Come on, man. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, no, but to answer your question, it's not that I don't like this album. I really like it. It's just the other albums ahead of it. There's like a deep connection.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So. And that's what it all comes down to, though.
Yeah. But again, man, Wale getting Jerry Seinfeld, that's fucking legendary for the culture. It should have been a way bigger moment than it was. Wale, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to shine the light on you. Yeah, I said everything I wanted to say about this album, bro. The Matrimony is one of the best fucking R&B songs ever. Yeah. Ever, dog.
This resonates to me, a guy who has no intention of ever being married, but this shit slaps so fucking hard.
This shit is insane.
It bumps. And it's because Wale's also talking about how he struggles with, natural, like, just come on, baby.
Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to your number 2.
No, I already have my number 3 there, so.
Yeah, your number 3 there.
We spoke about that, so you gotta do your number 3. You gotta do back to back.
Damn, really? You gonna put me on the spot like that?
Back.
Alright. Yo, your fucking face. Alright, so for the listeners and viewers, my number 3, I had Falarin 2. Let me get the technology up. You heard? Yo, okay, so first and foremost, the song for me, you know the song for me off this album. Do you remember that fucking, when I showed you the video for this shit?
Yeah.
Dearly Beloved? Sampling fucking Jamie Foxx, bro. That song is fucking insane, dog. And then on top of that, let's talk about the video. He didn't, I don't know if he released it like on Vivo or YouTube or that shit. I'm pretty sure he did. But I got it off his Instagram. The video to this fucking song, it's literally the song going, and for almost every single word, he has a fucking scene from a pop culture TV show, from a pop culture movie, literally pertaining to the fucking words as it's going, bro. The video, it says, who was it? What do you mean behind the concept?
Yeah, no. It's like, who's behind that concept to have pop culture references for everything?
The concept was definitely Wale's, but I got a little confused because it says, I believe it says edited by someone.
Oh, so like someone might have just
helped them out.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was, them together. That's why I kind of. But dog, I can't express to you enough about watching that video for the first time. I was fucking engulfed in it, bro. I was literally just
you put me onto the video too. I never saw the video before the one day we were on the.
Right, yeah. So a little backstory behind the scenes. Before we started doing this in this do-it-yourself studio, we actually tried like doing other locations.
Brooklyn Library.
Exactly. We tried to go to the Brooklyn Library, and on the drive back home, we started talking about doing ranking of albums with different artists. Ye, Wale, some other people as well. And then we started talking about songs from Wale. I put this song on, and then I'm like, yo, Mike, have you seen the video for this? And he's like, nah, I haven't. Boom. I gave it to him, showed it on my YouTube. This guy was fucking speechless for like almost the rest of the ride home. The thing that fucking sucks about this song, though, it's like a minute and a half, bro.
I don't know. That might be the sweetest thing about it.
I feel you.
Get well, Jamie Foxx.
Oh yeah, facts. Get well, Jamie, man. We still don't know what the fuck happened with that. But all right. So now moving on from my favorite song from the album, some of the highlights, Angles with Chris Brown, bro. Yeah. We got the sample from what? I think they did it justice.
They did.
I think they did it justice.
I'm holding all of my.
Okay. I think they did it justice, unlike another song that I think they didn't really do justice.
Okay.
And I think you know where I'm going. Before we get to that song, let's ride out a little bit. I Need a Girl, Diddy featuring Usher. Again, Usher in another fucking classic R&B song.
Marion Winans on there one too, I think.
Now he's on part 2, I believe. Loon is on part 1.
Loon is on part 1, but there wasn't another vocalist on part 1?
I'm pretty sure it was just Usher.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That was 8701 Usher.
Yep. One of his
You
better
don't
albums.
have to come.
Shout out for
It's okay, girl.
But yeah, I think they did this shit justice. I Need a Girl is one of the that song. When I first heard it, I was like, what the fuck? Like the blending of hip hop and R&B was fucking amazing to me. He was going through his J-Lo shit, whatever. But I think this song they did justice. Now again, to the song that I think they didn't do justice. Yeah. Me personally, Vibrant Thing. They sampled Vibrant Thing with Q-Tip. It's not what I was looking for a J. Cole Wale song. I like it. I appreciate it. I feel like your head's about to blow up.
We'll talk about this when we get to my list.
Yeah. I like it. I appreciate it, but it's not what I was looking for. And it might be unfair for me because whenever I see a Wale and J. Cole joint, I want to hear them rapping. Because Wale is always underappreciated when he's talked about Drake, when he's talked about Kendrick, when he's talked about Cole. When he's on a track with Cole, this is your fucking opportunity, dog. This is your opportunity to take his fucking head off. So when I hear this song, it's like, yo, let's just make the single, let's make it pop. You know, I got you as a look on this album. I'm like, nah, bro, this is not for me. This is not where I wanted you to go. That's just me.
Are there any Wale J. Cole collabs that have filled that void for you?
There has. It's off the EP. I forgot. Groundhog Day?
But no, that was actually
a response.
Wale's response to
Right.
And that's Wale at his That's what. And when you hear that, I'm gonna leave this here. Wale has the best pen of his peer class. He has the best pen. When you're talking about bars and rapping, he has the best pen. You strip everything else, this guy's the rapper of that generation. You can say Kendrick, Cole, Drake, Sean, whatever. This dude.
I might not argue that. But yeah, I just wasn't it for me. Another highlights off this song, Caramel Kisses. Bruh, that shit is fucking stupid, bro. Look at this fucking guy.
Come on, bro.
No, that's fucking insane. Other highlights, name ring bell. That shit inspired me.
Come on, and he said that was like his Bro, I got so much to say on this fucking album and the way he incorporated his influences. But I'll keep it here. Name Ring Bell was his version of like the mixtape cuts on old Flex and Clue tapes. He said that's a record that in his head he would see as like, you know, something bumping out of a fucking 1997 Acura, you know, like off of the Flex tape.
Do you remember how you heard that? Did he say that in an interview or like?
Yeah,
That's fucking interesting.
He said it on an interview somewhere. It was from him specifically. I just forget where.
Yeah, man. Extra Special with Ann Clemens. That's another one. Light Years with Rick Ross. That's a.
But you see how he's still paying attention. Like Ann Clemens, he's still paying attention to the R&B along with the other.
No, 100%. Again, Wale does a great job of balancing the hip hop and R&B. Yeah, we talked about Name Ring Bell, Caramel, Light Years, Angles, Dearly Beloved, Extra Special. Again, man, my third favorite Wale album, but the other two albums, they just hold a more special place in my heart. That's the only reason why this album is third. And the song with fucking Maxwell Cream, you remember what it's called off your head?
Down South.
Thank you. Down South. When I first heard this album, I was like, okay, cool. Re-listening to this album, I'm like, yep.
Yup. That shit fucking goes.
Yeah.
Talk about flipping a fucking classic beat.
Yeah. He does his thing, bro. Alright, Lauren 2. That's my number 3.
We will revisit.
Oh yeah. Will we revisit now or in 2 picks?
No, number 2 is quick for me.
Stay tuned.
We already discussed.
Album About Nothing.
I think we covered it. I think the fact that
Link's number 2.
that was I think what stapled Wale for a lot of people. This Seinfeld as a guy who grew up with Seinfeld in his household, who loves Seinfeld and then who loves Wale and thinks that this is a good representation of his artistry. We spoke about it. You brought it up as number 4.
The fucking look you just gave me.
But no.
So what's your? Oh, you did. You said the Need to Know is your joint off this
Need to
album.
Know is my
Need to
joint.
Know featuring SZA. SZA,
Yeah.
Goddess. I think you said in the last podcast that she'll be.
That was edited out.
Was it?
Because I brought in my actual place of employment.
Oh
So it was just completely edited out.
That's
But
hilarious.
long story, less long, and without disclosing details. SZA, if you need a personal urinal when you're on tour, I'll take
I'll add
$45,000 a year.
I'll add. I'll add it. There's only 2 albums left.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
So it's between The Gifted.
Yeah.
And Ambition.
Okay.
And my second favorite Wale album. My second favorite Wale album, I have The Gifted. Now, we talked about it when we talked about The Gifted with You, which was the number 5th. Number 5, 5th. Yeah. Wow, 5th favorite Wale album. So like we hit a lot of the points. Some things that I want to highlight off this album. So I believe in the intro track, The Curse of the Gifted. He kept like reiterating New Black Soul. And I feel like he made it a point to try and establish a new sound, which I think is one of the reasons why this album was kind of overlooked. Because I just feel like he was trying to do too much, but kind of like what we talked about, when you take a step back and you see what he's trying to balance, you're trying to do everything, I think he did a masterful job. The last 4 fucking tracks, dog. Simple Man, 88, Black Heroes.
Yes. I forgot, when we first spoke about this, I forgot about Simple Man.
And then again, one of the highlights from this album, we talked about it when you talked about it, Golden Salvation, Jesus Piece, talking about from the perspective of the Jesus Piece. That's just incredible, bro. I love when people, like, they just think outside the box and they try to convey a certain message where the norm isn't gonna suffice and they gotta go outside the box to get the message across. 100%. You got heavy hitters. He has Meek Mill. He has fucking CeeLo Green. I get what you're saying with Clappers, with Nicki and Juicy J. Like, I like it. I mean, and Nicki's fucking...
But
I love...
It puts a timestamp on this album, though. Like, and that also, you know, that's my issue with Take Care, is that there's a couple of timestamps on like that album. Like, there's certain records, like with a lot of albums, regardless of the era, where you can listen and be like, oh, he went wrong because it was like, this is the sound then. It's not, and it wasn't good enough to transcend time. Like,
I feel you. What do you think about the rotation with Wiz and 2 Chainz?
Cool.
It's cool, right?
Cool.
I feel like that could have been something, bro. Like, not even. Obviously, Wiz rotation. You can talk about weed and smoking.
2 Chainz was in a moment at this time.
Right. I kind of wanted, when I saw the track list and I saw featuring Wiz Khalifa and 2 Chainz, and I saw the name rotation, I was like, okay, I kind of get what this is gonna be about. But like, re-listening to this and listening to these 3 distinctive voices, I would have loved to hear them on some like introspective shit, on some like really introspective shit. Because one, we don't really get a lot of that from Wiz.
Yeah, no.
If you're a deep Wiz fan in the deep cuts, like back in the day,
and I'm not. So
me neither. So he probably has those. But since we're not, we don't know about them, right? 2 Chainz, he definitely has those off his album.
We know Chainz can go. Bro.
Yeah, Chainz can go. But like, and Wiz is another one in his class, I believe, or is he a little earlier? He's a little earlier. No.
Well, no, he falls in line with that time period, but for some reason, he's not. He's on the covers. When we're talking about what is it, the Orange?
Yeah, Orange.
That mixtape that kind of was his
first mixtape.
That's 2010, and he was already on the blog sites probably since like 08. But that's Wale too. That's Drake.
Yeah. So
he's in that class.
Because I'm thinking about Black and Yellow, which was off his first album, Roll the Papers. And that was like 2008, 2009, 2010. So yeah. So whatever.
That was a little,
so for right now, we're gonna put him in the same class. But he's another one where you gotta take him into consideration.
You could, like, when it comes to MMG artists, you could always hear the records that were probably intended for Ross. Like, this is one of those records, and Wale just happens to kill it. But this shit.
That's funny. You think this was for Ross? And then he was like, yo.
No, 88. Yeah, I think 88. Like, that's when on Meek's Championship album, I think it was the title track, Champions, with the horns, fire. But it's like, this was meant for Ross. You could hear Ross.
Yeah, no, and this intro is fucking insane.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
This intro is insane.
You know what's to be appreciated about this album, too?
The cover art?
Well, the cover art,
like you said.
But the fact that if my memory serves me correctly, the first single was the Love Hate Thing off of this album.
I don't remember.
Bad was like an unofficial single because it came out prior off the Folarin mixtape. That's.
And then came Bad?
Was that no Bad? Bad was already circulating, and that was like that's why it ended up on the album. But I think this was, and for it to be such a soulful record, to your point about his mission to bring black soul back, this has Marvin Gaye-esque vibe, but it's also a tribute to his hometown of DC.
100%.
Like just the go-go elements, and it's his first single. That's a risk. That's an artist right there. He was out there. The shit still fucking goes. You listen to this now. Sam do smoke.
Alright, you're up, my guy.
Let's do it. You already know. There's only
Number
one thing
one.
left.
There's only one left.
Already two. As ironic as that is, because it's his last studio release. Backstory. And we've spoke about this. Folarin 1, to this day, as a mixtape, like, just...
Yeah.
You were an aficionado.
Yeah.
Folarin is probably one of my top 5 mixtapes ever. Like, I still bump Folarin. There's, like, Never Freestyle. There's... So...
I don't blame you, though.
When I heard Folarin 2 was coming out and that it was going to be a release, I was unsure of how to feel. Because I don't know, okay, what are we going to do? What, is this going to go left? Because it's a hard act to follow. Now, we can pull up the track list. It's safe to say, if this is my number 1 album, it did what it had to do. The reason why? This is, in my opinion, because we talk about Wale's like journey to find his artistry.
All the time.
This is Wale incorporating all the elements of his artistry in one album. We know that the 90s, the pop culture, the R&B, it all plays a huge part in Wale's development. You hear that development. You hear the Vibrant Thing sample. We already spoke about how Name Ring Bells was like his unofficial tribute to Clue and Flex mixtape cuts. Caramel, another, the 90s-esque sampling, the bop to it. Fluctuates him rapping his ass off. But Angles, Dearly Beloved with all the references. But he's doing everything. If you're a Wale fan, he does everything that you want him to do. You want him to give you tribute to his influences, it's there. You want him to rap his ass off, it's there.
You know what's funny? When I brought up Folarin 2, I didn't even talk about track 10.
Thank you. Sean Stockman. And holy shit.
Listeners and viewers.
Sean Stockman is a fucking legendary vocalist from the group Boys to Men. You might not know the name, but as soon as you see him, you'll know. Or as soon as you hear his voice. Like, I remember I could have been blindfolded listening to that, and I was like, oh, that's him. That's that guy. But that's what I mean. Like, who else is thinking to bring Sean Stockman back?
Yeah.
And outside of that, Beverly Boulevard, he's just going off. Fire and Ice. Ann Clemens paying attention to modern R&B. Down South, he does a little bit of that. They all smoke that shit. Like, there's nothing that this album doesn't give me as a Wale fan. I mean, Jump In, I get it. It's his go-go. Like, that wasn't for me. But this entire album gives you everything you want for a Wale fan. This is his tribute to DC type of thing. But
I like it. It's a nice bounce, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Literally, there's nothing. This album left me yearning for nothing. Come on.
Okay. What's your joint? What's your number 1 joint on
Fuck, man. I'm trying to figure that out now. That's another telltale sign. I still can't tell you because for a long time it was New Balances, but then it was Name Ring Bell. Then it was Caramel, Fluctuate, Dearly Beloved, fucking Beverly Boulevard. You can't. This, Wale, man. Thank you for this. This is everything. Everything a Wale fan needs is right here. That's why it's number 1.
I feel you, bro.
It's concise, and you don't get that feeling like the label had too much of a hand in it. This is all Wale. I feel like this is a full-on Wale production. He did what the fuck he wanted.
Yeah, at this point, this came out in 2021, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, 21. So at this
Well
point,
established.
yeah, exactly. Wale is well established. He already had his hit singles. He already been on the Billboard, so he could kind of do whatever he wants. And to echo what you're saying, he didn't need backing from the studio. I mean, from the studio, whatever. So he did what he does best, and he puts together concise projects where you get you get rapping, you get the blend of R&B and hip hop, and then what you get Florence too.
And then you also get, not for nothing, if you know, you know, Wale's a huge sneakerhead. You get the sneaker references in the fucking titles of the songs. Tiffany Nikes,
Right,
referencing the Dunks, and then New Balances. Like, everything you want out of Wale is on this album. Everything. That's my number one.
That's your number one?
My number one. And it's just one of my favorite albums.
Nah, I fuck with it, dog. But you know I gotta. My God, I can't get over this fucking song.
But this is what I mean, like Jamie Foxx, Sean Stockman.
Oh, they got what she want.
Yeah, that shit is crazy, bro.
Watch your fucking mouth when you talk about Wale.
Yo, Wale, come on, man. You got two stains over
Watch
here,
your
bro.
fucking mouth.
Alright, before we go into my number one, which obviously you know what it is already, but you sure you don't want to say anything else about Florence too?
Masterpiece.
So
And
this-
I don't know why it's not widely regarded. Well, it goes back to the question of Wale and the way he resonates.
Kind of came and went, right?
But man, this is just such a good fucking album, man.
When I tell you, when I heard this for the very first time, when I tell you I had this shit on repeat, dog, for hours.
So that's another thing that kept happening to me on this album. Like, and it's very rare on first listen that I do repeats. New Balances, I repeated.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Caramel, I repeated. Fluctuate, I repeated. Dearly Beloved, I repeated. More Love, I repeated. Fucking Fire and Ice, Beverly Boulevard, I repeated. Name Ring Bell. So I liked it when I first heard it. But it wasn't until I heard it in a car and in my headphones when you get the full surround sound of the production that you're like, oh, okay. There's nothing like this, nothing left to be said. This fucking album is ridiculous. And if you love music, you love rap, you want to know more about Wale, this is a great place to explore.
Love it. Love it. Alright. So, my number one, no surprise if you've been following the podcast, they're gonna love me for my ambition.
Why do you think this album isn't appreciated the way?
Because it was his first album after Attention Deficit, and Attention Deficit was such a flop that I think everybody was just off him.
Like counted him out?
Counted him
Even
out.
with the Machine, like Warner and MMG.
MMG? Yeah, I don't know, I guess. But when we're talking about fucking coming back from the dead, dog?
No.
And we talked about it when we talked about you. You having ambition as fucking number 4 is ridiculous. But whatever. But yeah, man, we talked about the oh my god, dog. Looking at this track list, dog. Yo, if Miami Nights was not there, bro, I can't tell you how insane, how legendary that 4-track, 3-track opening of an album is. You just take Miami Nights out. You got Don't Hold Your Plus, Double MG James,
No,
legendary.
it doesn't
Lotus
stop.
Flower Bomb, dog.
It doesn't even slow up until probably track 12.
12. Illest Bitch Alive, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
Bitch, you're thinking of Watch the Throne.
yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. But yeah, man, this also goes back to like back in college when it dropped in 2011. I was playing ball in between going to practice, classes, driving home, and fucking listening to this album.
Yeah.
Just fucking great memories, bro. I'm just like, damn, he did it, bro. Like he finally did it. And I got onto Wale because of you, and I don't think I really talked about it a lot. But when you bought Attention Deficit, I borrowed it from you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I gave it back to you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it wasn't anything to hold on to.
But that's how I got into Wale, and then ever since I heard this album, I was like, all right, I wanna keep him in rotation. But it was kind of hard at the time because Attention Deficit was just a flop. Like I just didn't like it.
And there wasn't really anything. It was dry for a little bit after
100%.
that.
And then we started hearing about MMG, and we're like, wow, that's kind of weird. Okay. And then the first single off this album was Lotus Flower Bomb. You're like, oh, right? It was Lotus, yeah.
Yeah, Lotus.
So, but even with that didn't give a good indication that he was gonna be fucking rapping, dog.
No, but that's the beauty of it. Like when Wale is doing Wale well, he's rapping his ass off and he's putting chart-topping records all on the same album, and it's all seamless enough to go together.
Yeah, and then it's funny again because first single Lotus Flower Bomb, and then the first 4 tracks is just him going. Miami Nights, you can say that's kind of like a concise song that he's putting together, but especially this shit though. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is like some jizza shit.
Yo, Wale was definitely, he had a mission, bro. You could just tell it. He was like, nah, fuck it. I got backing now.
I got a machine behind me.
I got a machine.
I got a machine behind me that's giving me creative leverage and freedom.
Yeah.
Interscope did not give him that. Interscope is the machine of all machines, but they also seem to be the control freaks of all control freaks, and that's why you hear these countless stories of artists signing to Interscope and not taking off from there. Sometimes they never take off, or sometimes they're years removed. I.e. your Freddie Gibbs, i.e. a lot of rappers in this era, where it's like, oh, I was on Interscope, I got shelved, I was in a bad contract. Between the bad business, takes some years to get out of, and then they fruition to who they're supposed to be, but that's Interscope, it seems to be.
So, that's it, man. We did it, my boy.
Yeah.
We did it.
Much needed, man.
Much needed, and there's
one that we wanted to do.
100%, and there's even more projects that we didn't get to. We didn't get to the mixtapes. We didn't get to the EPs. There's a lot of loosies that he has that we haven't talked about. But obviously, we talked a lot, so we don't want to like bombard you guys with so much information. But yeah, man, if you haven't heard of Wale, or if you have heard of him but you haven't really given him the time of day, Mike and I, we really, really encourage you to go back into his discography. Go into Ambition, go into Falarin 2, which is Mike's and I's favorite albums of Wale's, and try and listen to it just with open ears. Try not to go with any preconceived notions. Just listen to the music, listen to what he's trying to say and how he's saying it, and maybe it might change your perspective on Wale. But Wale, man, hopefully you hear this, hopefully you see this somehow, some way, and to just know that you do have 2 people here that do appreciate your art, where you contribute to the culture, contribute to hip hop. And please, we just want more music from you, bro. Yeah. Whatever, it's mixtapes, albums,
I was just thinking
whatever,
about it today, too. Like, damn, I wonder if Wale's cooking.
We haven't heard anything from him since Full On 2. Not even like a Lucy or anything, right?
Nothing.
It's been 21. It's been some time. So, all right, yeah, man. So we're gonna wrap this up. But yeah, you already know. I'm not gonna. You can find the links for everything in the description below for all the socials: Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and yes, TikTok. Over into the dark world. Links will be in the description below. And if you are able to tell, if you have been telling, that we've been having some merch over the TV. Just if you guys have took a glance at it, the link for that website will be in the description below. One-click shop, very easy. If you like it, support the boy. If you want to just send me a message saying that you think it's dope, that'll be greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, all the links will be down in the description below. Mike, again, thank you so much, man. We wanted to do this for a minute.
Always.
Appreciate it. And yeah, we'll check you on the next episode of the Time Flies podcast. Peace.